If there's a pattern in your life right now that you have been obsessing over trying to change, I have a big invitation for you right now. The invitation is stop. The invitation is to stop obsessing over trying to change that pattern. What I mean by that is stop obsessing over trying to delete that pattern. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Very often when we realize, very often when we come to the awareness that there is an expression of consciousness, which is a pattern, an expression of consciousness that we acknowledge no longer serves us really anymore. It no longer serves us powerfully. We often zoom into the pattern and we would love to see it disappear. We would love to see it be erased, quote unquote. We would love to delete it. And because of that obsessive behavior, it's almost like a compulsion at times. It's as if we have this obsessive drive to get rid of a part of us. I don't know about you, but that hasn't truly been effective in my own experience. So if that hasn't been effective, then what could actually work? The first thing that I would love to say is, I challenge you to think that there's never been a pattern that you've actually changed. You never truly deleted any pattern. There is no erase button in consciousness. Your mind doesn't have an erase button. You cannot unknow what you know. Meaning, you will never create some sort of like delete a neuronal connection in your mind. But what you can begin to do is first to find it within yourself to accept the pattern. And accepting here again doesn't mean being complacent with the pattern. To find it within yourself to bring your awareness to the pattern and your presence to the pattern. To find it within yourself to actually illuminate the hidden forces that are usually surrounding the pattern. What do I mean by hidden forces? First, how do you often feel when you default to that specific pattern? Let's say, for example, you have a pattern of being passive aggressive when you are actually being challenged. What are the hidden forces that are arising when you are being told that, hey, you're being a little bit passive aggressive there? And you can even see that within yourself. What are the hidden forces? Is it possible that there is some deeper anger there that you're not allowing yourself to fully be with? Is it possible that there is resentment that you're not allowing yourself to acknowledge? Is it possible that there is some sort of like emotional signature that is actually surrounding the pattern? I'm inviting you to picture a pattern as a neutral circuitry that is activated within you. And that circuitry can actually be very neutral. But there is some sort of magnetism that is surrounding the pattern. There is something that causes you to go back, for example, to being passive aggressive. There is something that emerges within you that causes you to default to a subconscious programming. There's something within you that causes you to default to any form of, for example, addiction, if I'm going to use that word. There is something within you that emerges that causes you to shrink, that causes you to freeze, that causes you to fawn, that causes you to fight. There's something that happens, and usually that unconscious activity is what we need to illuminate. So there's a quality of presence that you get to bring around the pattern instead of trying to delete it. Instead of obsessing against the pattern. It's as if you're romancing it, asking of it to speak to you. So the moment you begin to shift the attitude that, okay, this pattern is actually a friend that doesn't know anymore how to support me. It's not something within me that I get to delete. And the more I start illuminating the hidden forces and asking myself, what surrounds this pattern when it's emerging? What do I get to be present with? And I'm inviting you to remember your presence is actually light focused, light targeted. That's how potent your open-hearted presence is. So the more you can direct your open-hearted presence and compassion towards the pattern and towards the hidden forces that are surrounding the pattern, beginning to ask yourself questions such as, when I often default to this pattern, what else is present is. When I often feel the need to default to this pattern, what's happening in my body is. And when that is unfolding in my body, I feel the urge to. When that is unfolding in my body, I am afraid of. When you begin to illuminate the hidden forces around the pattern, what you find out is there are maybe other parts of you there that if you are able to now hold consciously, the need to default, the magnetic force that was drawing you to the pattern gets disrupted. Something that used to be an unconscious activity is now illuminated and it loses the capacity to hijack you. And now, here's the beauty of things. Now you are able to actually create a tiny pause between the initial situation that causes you to default to the pattern and now asking yourself, what is the new empowered way I can respond in this moment? What is the new empowered way I can actually get to respond in this moment? What would that look like? What would it look like for me to act it out? What would it look like for me to embody even more being the observer in this moment and to make the most empowered choice for me available right now in this moment? What does that look like? I'm inviting you to keep in mind this perspective. You do not actually delete any neurocircuitry in your mind. You add more to who you are. What you do is you discharge the pattern. You find a way to accept it. You illuminate the hidden forces that kept bringing you back. That's the reason why there's so much value in exploring the shadow that surrounds the pattern, or the shadow activity that is fueling the pattern. And the more you do that, it disrupts the hidden forces and now you can begin to anchor something new. If you try over and over to just try to paste something on top of the pattern, to put a band-aid on it, to try to delete it, sometimes it's as if you're not really addressing all the different layers that you could address. And it tends to sometimes come back up even more. And sometimes it feels like you have a relapse. There's something powerful that happens when you bring your awareness, your consciousness, to the hidden forces. You illuminate the shadow motives. Big part. Illuminating the shadow motives behind the pattern. When you do that, you reclaim your capacity to change. And now you can begin to disconfirm the pattern. Meaning, communicating to that aspect of you. I no longer need to show up in these ways. It is no longer supporting my expansion to show up in these ways and actually meaning it and feeling your heart backing up that intent and now adding more to who you are, adding more to who you came here to be, adding a new empowered way, more healthy, more grounded, more embodied, more filled with your light to show up in that now moment. So I'm inviting you to stop trying to change a pattern, meaning stop trying to delete it. Stop trying to get rid of it. Stop trying to actually even push back that pattern in the shadow, because that would be another way to get it to hijack you. But illuminate the hidden forces around and find ways to add more to who you are. That's the invitation that I have for you in this moment. And if you'd like to actually radically shift the way you relate to yourself, the way you are showing up, the way you are embodying your light, we are announcing and launching our 4-month container, Integrate, which is an in-depth journey where you not only get to illuminate more of your shadows so that you may reclaim your ability to lead your life from your heart and not your wounds. But what also happens in there? You reclaim your capacity to embody even more and to express your golden shadow, which is the light you had to repress in order to feel safe in the world. The light that no one around you was willing to make room for, and because of that, unconsciously you chose to push in the dark. There's never been a better time to embrace that even more. If you would like to increase the potency of the work that you're doing in the world, your ability to show up more truthfully in your relationships, your ability to claim the space that you know you're worthy of, the ability to show up in all the ways you know you came here to be. I'm inviting you to check the link in the description and to apply to join Integrate. Thank you for listening. And I'm inviting you to please like and subscribe if this is resonating with you, and to share it with people who might need to hear it. Thank you for being here.